everyone, this is going to be a very short intro because I have a very long, very exciting video ahead about my time in Morocco on the Global Amateur Tour. You're going to find out a lot about the tour, about what we got up to, but first I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what the tour includes, how you can get involved and what kind of things you can expect if you are wanting to go on a tour. So this leg of the Global Amateur Tour was in Morocco, but they do have tours all over the world. You can find the tour list on the Global Amateur Tour website, which is linked in my bio. So before we start, a quick rundown of the tour. The Moroccan tour consisted of daily trainings on different horses. That's right, we got to ride a different horse every single day. They had over 20 horses based in Morocco for us to ride. All show jumpers, all different sizes, all different types, sharp ones, hot ones, chilled ones, really genuine sweet ones, some a little bit spicy, but it made it all the more fun to be able to adapt to all the different horses and under the watchful eyes of the two amazing trainers. First is Lucy Alford, who actually runs the Global Amateur Tour. She is based in New Zealand and she is a top rider. Second trainer is Michel Islam, who's from France. He's a 5-star world-class course designer and an incredible trainer, and we learned so much from both of them.
Our first day in Morocco was quite a relaxed one. This is our beautiful, beautiful hotel that we were staying in, as well as the amazing arena and stables on site. We went and had a look round at everything, met some of the horses, and just found out where everything was and the kind of facilities we were staying at before having our very first training session, which was a really fun flatwork session. After our first training session, we got to relax by the pool, which was so lovely as the weather is just stunning. As a lot of you guys know, I come from England, so it was a lovely change. It was about 30 degrees in Morocco and it was just amazing. In the evening, we had our second training session. We did our training sessions in the mornings and the evenings just due to the heat. The horses are obviously used to it as they do live in Morocco full time, but just to make it as comfortable as possible for everyone involved. Another huge part of this training tour is that we were actually riding different horses every single day. This was my second horse. I obviously had never ridden her before. So we spent a little time at the beginning of the session just getting to know them before we crack on with the training and exercises. This particular exercise was a pole work exercise working on stride adjustment. So we were given a number of strides that we had to hit between each pole. As we were all sat on different horses of different sizes and stride lengths, it was very individual to the horse we were on. This training session was also very useful in helping us adapt to different horses' strides, as we would be riding different horses every day of the tour. After our training session, we all helped untack and wash off the horses, getting them settled, ready for another day tomorrow. On day 2, we got to have our first jump. This day I was riding a lovely little mare called Maya. She was honestly so sweet and very straightforward. It was really, really helpful to be able to ride lots of different horses, some being challenging, some being more straightforward, and just being able to hop between all of them and adjust your riding to adapt to that particular horse. She was such a lovely little mare. She was really, really honest and genuine. We're all watching each other riding these horses for the very first time. You don't know what horse you're going to be on tomorrow, so it's really helpful to watch all the other riders go round and see how different horses react to the different questions. This particular training session was run by Michelle. We got to train with both Michelle and Lucy, which was another fab part of the tour, that we got to experience different training styles from different countries. Lucy is from New Zealand, Michelle is from France, I'm from England. We were all from all over the world, and people do things differently, and it was such an enriching experience to learn from professionals in the sport, not just in my own country but from others. Both Lucy and Michelle had very different styles of teaching, but both were very attentive and very encouraging, which I think was such a confidence boost for everybody, as we're all very new, we hardly know each other, and some people might be feeling a little bit nervous about being watched by a lot of people, but really it was such an amazing experience. The atmosphere was so friendly and everybody was just so supportive of each other. So as this is our first jump training session, we're just popping around a little course just to get a feel for the horses and for the trainers to also see how we are as riders and the things that we perhaps need to work on or improve throughout the week of training. After a hard morning training session, we all pitched in to wash off the horses in the beautiful stabling facilities. They were honestly lovely. And after this training session, we headed off to the Medina of Marrakesh to have a look around the markets. Exploring the markets was obviously a lot of fun to go shopping and sightseeing, but it was also very culturally enlightening. We got to really experience the heart of Morocco, Marrakesh. Then that evening, we got to go and visit the castle of Alibaba, which is where the traditional tale of Aladdin comes from. We got to walk around and explore the beautiful castle at night, as well as experience a traditional Moroccan dinner and festivities. We got to meet some really cute camels, as well as watch a really exciting show. After the excitement of the night before, it was back to training as usual the next morning. This training session was a grid work session, and I was sat on a very spicy mare called Poulaine. She was quite fun to ride, actually. She had a fantastic jump, but she was very tricky. I had originally started on a different horse, but I got swapped onto her because she was being a bit of a naughty gal. She was a very hot mare and she had a very particular way of going. She didn't really like the rider interfering with that. She had her set way of going and that's how she liked to go. She was very upright in front, but she did have a fantastic jump on her. She just tended to rush into the fences a little bit and kind of bounce around. So you had to find a balance of leaving her to it while also making her go at a sensible pace. After a hard morning training, some of us went to get massages and a traditional Moroccan hammam, which is a full body cleanse and scrub, which was honestly so relaxing. Some of the others went to play some golf, as they have a huge demand for golf out in Morocco, which I didn't know, but there was some absolutely stunning and huge golf resorts there, as well as go-karting. Some of the others went off go-karting, so there was something for everyone and we all got to enjoy our relaxing time. The next day we all got up early for a morning rider fitness session, as it is a huge part of the sport. The horses aren't the only ones that have to be fit and strong. As riders, we also should be training our bodies as well as improving our stamina, balance. All of these things affect how we ride and can benefit or hinder us. After breakfast, we then had another training session. This session was about striding yet again, but as well as stride adjustment. So we had a set of strides throughout the course of little cavalettes, and they would change the amount of strides that they'd want us to hit. So we'd practice on getting the correct striding, adding a stride in, so going on a shorter distance, and taking a stride out, going on a longer distance, just to practice our adjustment and control. I was sat on a horse called Florida for this session. He was a really sweet boy and actually was quite adjustable. He was very up for it, and even when I made little mistakes, he was very forgiving. So this time round the course, we are adding strides in, as you could probably see from the short distances that we're going on. This next line here was a bending line, which was actually quite tricky. We got a little bit deep into that one, but it was really great for our balance and adjustment and just controlling where the horse goes, exactly where you want them to take off, and how to get them round fences and navigate them round a course. This was, again, just a fantastic exercise and training experience that I've actually never experienced in the UK. So it just goes to show how many other styles of training there are out there all over the world, and how much knowledge you can gather from all these different trainers. Because our previous attempt through this line had been a little bit messy, we did do it again, and it was much smoother and more controlled and balanced in general. Florida was such a good boy. That evening, Michel gave us a talk on course designing, as he is a 5-star world-class course designer in preparation for our competition in Morocco the next day. The next day was competition day, which was honestly so much fun. For my first round, I did the 80 centimetres on this little grey mare called Fiona. I had never sat on her before this day. This was my first time riding her, so I just entered her into a small class because she was quite a green pony and a little bit shuffly around the course, but actually she had a fantastic little pop in there, and she made such a nice shape over the fences, and she really improved throughout the week of training on the actual tour itself. Not only were we improving ourselves, but we actually saw a huge improvement in the horses. But Fiona was absolutely flying. She jumped an amazing clear round, and we even, we gave it a go in the jump off. She was quite a whizzy little pony. I didn't do any crazy turns, but she whizzed around. She was so careful, and she was such an honest little mare as well. And we actually managed to win the class, which I was so happy about. I was absolutely thrilled. I won this gorgeous glass set, traditional Moroccan glass set, which is now sitting in my cabinet at home because they're honestly so beautiful. My second round of the day was on the lovely Maya, who I rode earlier in the week. She was such a sweet girl. Even when I got a dodgy stride down to this fence, she tried so hard to leave the fence up. She was just an absolute pleasure to take round. She gave me so much confidence. And one of the other girls, Stella, also rode her and got an amazing clear round in this class. This class was the 1 metre to 1 metre 10 class. There were a few of us jumping it, and it was so nice that throughout the day everybody was hands-on, helping everyone else prepare for their rounds. We were cheering each other on. It was just such a lovely, friendly atmosphere, and honestly so welcoming. I do have to say, if anybody is nervous about going on these tours and not knowing anybody, that's exactly how I felt, and I made friends so quickly. Everyone is in the same boat. Everyone's a little bit nervous, but it was a really great atmosphere, so I really wouldn't let that hold you back. The next day, we actually had a day off riding because we went to the city of Essaouira. On the way, we got to visit where the argan oil is made, as it is actually made in Morocco itself. Before we headed down to Essaouira in the city, where we got to visit the docks and see the sea markets. We all got to walk around the city and really get ourselves immersed into the culture of Morocco, as well as see the beautiful architecture and explore the stalls with the markets. This was very different from the Medina. I actually quite enjoyed the Essaouira markets a lot more because it was a lot more relaxed and laid back, and we could spend our time walking around, whereas in the Medina it was very hustle bustle, lots of life going on. Essaouira had a calmer essence to it, and I did a lot of shopping. I did tell myself I wasn't going to buy a lot when I went to Morocco, but of course I walked around all the markets and came home with a fair few things. After a long day in Essaouira, the next day we of course had another morning rider fitness session. It was actually a lot of fun. I'm not somebody that enjoys working out a lot, but doing it with your friends and people around you makes it so much more fun. Now, if you're wondering what's going on here, you'll have to wait and see, because we did a very fun game called blind show jumping. Now, blind show jumping was a game we played in pairs. One person was blinded and the other had to navigate them through an obstacle course, or a show jump course, sort of, without touching them. So they just had to explain, making their explanations very clear to navigate the other person who was blindfolded around the course. Now, this is me and Sinead doing it. I am blindfolded and I look a bit ridiculous, honestly. But we all looked ridiculous, so it was okay. It was all a bit of a laugh. But we actually had a really great time, and I think we came second. Did nearly trip over there, but it was fine. Oh my God, why am I running like that? So this is when we swapped over. I definitely didn't do as good of a job as Sinead did. I honestly thought I would be good at explaining, but I really wasn't. She did a much better job, and she was such a good sport about it, and it was honestly such great fun. We all had a really great time doing the blind show jumping course, and whoever was blinded in the first round got to then explain in the second round when the course changed. And it was just such a great fun. And the whole point of the blind show jumping was to make a point of the fact that we have to be very clear with our instructions when navigating our own horses around the course, and we can't just expect them to understand what we mean when we're asking them to do things. And finally, for my last ride in Morocco, we did a bareback accumulator challenge. I was on the little grey Fiona again that I rode at the show. Steering wasn't the greatest. I tried to steer to a fence and she went, no girl, not happening. Basically, the accumulator works in a way that you just have to jump as many fences as possible to gain as many points as you can. Different height fences are worth a different amount of points. I didn't do particularly well. Fiona was quite small, so I didn't end up doing the bigger fences on her. I just popped around the little small ones, and she was a little bit cheeky and ran out of a few. I came down to this one down here and she said, not happening, girl, it's not happening. But I had a really great time, and congratulations to Maggie, who was the winner. She won by quite a fair few points margin. But I had a great time whizzing around on little Fiona, and it was a great way to have a last ride.
Ladies, what a week it's been. The Moroccan League of the Global Amateur Tour. How can you sum it up in just a few words?
That's a tough one because there's so many words that come to mind, but definitely different because I've had so many new experiences. Eye-opening throughout horse training and also throughout walking in the markets because it's such a different country.
So we are getting close to the finish of the 2023 Moroccan Global Amateur Tour, and this is a little bit of a wrap up. So ladies, just wanted to get your thoughts on the week that has been, the highlights, the challenges, everything that you've faced during the week, and what experiences that you'll be taking home from this. Nay, so let's start with the challenges. What's the biggest challenge that you've faced this week?
Definitely probably just riding all the different horses. I think we rode maybe about 10 different ones each. So just adapting to, like the harder ones or the more chill.
Obviously had a whole lot of new riders, brought together this week, all for the same purpose. What's one of the things that you'll take away from this experience? Going into this, you probably only knew a couple of the riders. Now you've gone home with, whole new friendships. How have you found it?
Yeah, definitely. Not even the horse riding. The main challenge for me was coming here by myself. Didn't know anyone. Like scared of planes, scared of new cultures, new food. So it was just amazing, and horses just topped it off, obviously.
Do you feel like you've grown as a person?
Yeah, definitely.
In this experience?
Definitely not.
So any recommendations for others who may be contemplating, signing up to one of these tours and coming on it? What would you say to them?
Do it.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's no words that can explain it. It's amazing. Such a people you meet, and like just a different country, just a different world really.
Awesome. Thanks ladies for your time, and thanks for being on board with the Global Amateur Tour this week. We've loved having you here, and we look forward to following your journeys in the years to come.
Thanks.
How about you? So tell us a little bit about your experience over the last week. What's been some of the highlights, some of the challenges, and what are some of the learnings that you'll take home from this?
Some of the highlights have to be like meeting new people, like I've made some amazing friends, multiple different kinds of just very interesting people, especially from a different country, and just experiencing.
For you, Holly, what's been some of the challenges that you faced this week, and some of the highlights?
Highlight would definitely be the competition because like it's my first time out of the country and out of country. Australia, yeah. It's like been good to adapt to different horses, like because like for the future. And these horses have just been really good, just like telling with us.
Absolutely, and we haven't had a lot of time to adapt to these horses. I mean, each day you've all been thrown on new mounts, and at the show, some of you only got several minutes to sort of get on the horse and adapt, and you're in the ring. But you've all taken these challenges just with the most amazing positive attitude, and I know for myself and the rest of the Global Amateur team, we've just been so thrilled to see everything unfolding in this last week.
That is all for the video. I honestly wish I could have made it longer, but it was pretty long as it is. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I really hope it has encouraged some of you to check out the Global Amateur Tour and possibly get involved. If you have any questions at all, please comment them below and I will do my best to answer all of them. And remember to check out the Global Amateur Tour website for more information, which is linked in my bio.